hospital medical bills of the victims of police violence of last year. Number 3 is a release of all people who have been arrested and are in police custody. Number 4 is the dropping of all the pending charges which are pending in courts. Number 5 is the sacking and prosecution of all police officers who have been involved in criminal violence against innocent Kenyans who are actually exercising their rights as enshrined in the Constitution. And then we said that once that has been done, then people will sit down and dialogue. And we've also actually come up with what that dialogue should be about.
The former Prime Minister also said he releases members of his party called upon to work with the government in different ministries.
That we can then talk about a government of national unity. But then he said that if you want to take some of our experts and get into your government, you release them to join your government and work in accordance with the ethics of our party, ODM and Azimio. This is what we said. We have not changed. This position has not changed. We said we want to see a new Kenya, and the people of Kenya are entitled to it. And that's why we said we agree with Gen Z in their demands. Gen Z demands are the demands of the people of Kenya.
This announcement comes against the backdrop of a political division within Odinga's Azimio coalition.
Sisi sasa mwenye atakuwa akituongoza kwa hiyo safari itakuwa Kalonzo Musyoka. Steven Kalonzo Musyoka.
Na sisi tumesema mzee wetu Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga yeye anaenda kuania kiti kile cha AU kule Addis Ababa.
The elections to find the next occupant at the AUC top job will take place in February 2025 when Charles Musafaki, the current chairperson, exits after his 2-term tenure. Brian Amwai, K24.
President William Ruto has disputed that tribal and party politics featured in the nomination of cabinet secretaries. The president argues that the cabinet nominees are representative of all communities, a move that will boost development and unite Kenyans. In his development tour in Kwale County, Ruto reiterated the need to onboard the youth to steer the government. Coastal leaders from different parties who accompanied the head of state also spoke in unity, calling on Kenyans to give the government time to implement the demands. Here's more. In his development tour in Kwale County, President William Ruto was accompanied by leaders from different parties, including his investment cabinet nominee Salim Mvurya.
Na Mvurya awe huko katikati.
A move seen as that of drumming support following the nomination of the cabinet members.
Majo anatosha amatoshi. Mvurya atosha atoshi.
Ruto once again defended the broad-based cabinet, saying it will do away with tribal and party politics.
Nimeweka baraza la mawaziri ya kujumuisha Wakenya kutoka sehemu zote za Kenya, and there will be no loser. We will all become winners. Ndio nimesema we are forming a cabinet of win-win. Siasa unajua kidogo imetuchanganya. Kwa sababu saa zingine hata miradi, hata mipango ambayo kila mtu anaelewa faida yake, saa zingine watu wengine wanalazimishwa kupinga kwa sababu wao ni wapinzani, kwa sababu wao wako katika chama tofauti, kwa sababu wao wako katika mrengo tofauti.
Calls for unity were also made, with Kenyans being urged to give the government time to implement their demands and revive the economy.
Rais hawezi kutekeleza mambo yote mlemletea ikiwa hamtapatia nafasi ya kutekeleza mambo yale. He has heard you. Na hakusikiza tu, alitilia maanani yale yote ambao vijana walizungumza. Yale mapendekezo Mheshimiwa Rais tuliyapitisha hii wiki hii, na bila shaka Jumatatu inayokuja utayapata katika meza yako.
Sisi tuheshimu demokrasia. Askari wetu wa majeshi wanajua kazi yao, na sisi tunataka vile katiba yetu inasema tupate viongozi wetu kwa njia ya demokrasia. Tusitumie njia za mkato ama za uongo.
Mimi nawaomba sana tusije kuyumbishwa na fitina na umbea na namna yoyote ile. Tubaki kwa William Samoei Ruto, tumuunge mkono azidi kuendeleza Kenya mbele.
Umeweza kutuvuta mkono kwa kumchagua Hassan Ali Joho. Hata kama sisi tuna fulana yetu, wengine wana fulana zao, lakini maendeleo ni yale yale. Hawa vijana hawataki maneno mingi, hawa vijana wanataka kazi. Tunasema wale vijana wetu walioko hapa Likoni na kwengine ambao wameshikwa kwa sababu ya kuandamana, tunataka watolewe, Your Excellency.
Ya mwisho, yale mambo ya Gen Z, ya amnesty, rais uyafanye. Ya kuwasamehe wale ambao wameshikwa uyafanye. Ya compensation uweze kuyafanya ili tuweze kuwa katika taifa moja. Umetupa joo, ngoja na sisi tukunyegeze. Tutakuonyesha kwamba tumefurahi.
He further called on Vurie, mining CS nominee Hassan Ali Joho and Senate Speaker Amason Kingi to solve the coastal land disputes through an allocated 1 billion shillings.
Ndugu yangu Abdul Samad, tuungane. Munasema tuungane jameni.
Ruto also defended the effectiveness of the new university funding model, saying there's need for more sensitization on the model.
Tuko na funding model ambayo sasa tumeongeza pesa kutoka bilioni 5 mpaka bilioni 10 ya watoto wetu wa TVET wanaosoma kama TVET yenu hii. And I want a proper explanation to parents so that parents can know the import and the difference that the new funding model is giving, so that we can give more resources to children and to students from vulnerable backgrounds.
He also announced that come Monday, Kenya Ports Authority KPA will sign a 42 billion shillings contract that will see the expansion of Mombasa Port.
On Monday, we are giving authority to Kenya Ports Authority on Monday to sign the contract that is going to see another investment of 42 billion shillings in our Mombasa port.
In his development tour in the region, he unveiled the Kinango and Matuga Technical and Vocational College, Mwananyamal Industrial Park, Matuga Affordable Housing Project, and the Kinondo Cotton Ginnery.
Mimi nimekuja pia kuwatangazia hapa.
Ruto promised to help them construct more roads, more dams, increase electricity connection through a 1.5 billion shillings allocation, creation of special economic zones, ICT hubs, boosting agriculture, affordable housing, promotion of jobs, and construction of the Likoni Bridge.
Tumuruhusu aondoke.
Moving on, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has faulted the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA) for neglecting to take action against police officers involved in the shooting of protesters during anti-government demos. Kalonzo now wants the government to compensate families that lost loved ones during the Gen Z and also last year's Azimio protest. Meanwhile, using his local Kamba dialect, Kalonzo maintained that he will not accept any position from Ruto's government. Electino Dera tells us more.
Unbowed by the recent political unfoldings in Azimio, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has maintained his stance that he is not seeking any position from the Kenya Kwanza government. Kalonzo avers that he is ready to steer the ship to the end, even after NARC Kenya Party pulled out of the coalition, with ODM already showing an indication of leaving after its political bigwigs featured in President William Ruto's nomination list of cabinet secretaries. Today, while attending a burial ceremony in Mwingi, Kitui County, the Ukambani political supremo has also called on government to compensate families of young Kenyans who lost lives during anti-government protests.
A young leader carrying the national flag, the symbol of our pride and the symbol of our nationhood, and you don't even respect that. So sisi tunasema askari ambao walipiga vijana risasi washikwe, tuone wameshikwa. Loni huyu alipiga yule risasi, wengine walionekana kwa hizo mapicha zao, wanajua huyu. Wakitaka nitawaambia mmoja mahali nilimpata akijificha Meru.
Kalonzo also called out the Independent Policing Oversight Authority (IPOA) for its lackadaisical nature in apprehending police officers alleged to have killed innocent protesters.
We may have no confidence in IPOA. If you are given and you are constitutional office, fanya kazi yako bila uoga. Hatuwezi damu ya watoto ipotee tu namna hii.
He was accompanied by Kitui Senator Enoch Wambua and Women Rep Irene Kasalu, among other leaders. And as they say, time will tell. It will be a litmus test for the Wiper leader whether he will withstand political pressure from the Kenya Kwanza side that seems to get a backing from ODM to the 2027 elections. Electing Odera, K24 TV.
As the deadline for public submissions on the nominated cabinet secretaries fast approaches, there is a surge in activity from civil groups and individuals. Former Azimio leader Raila Odinga's chief agent, Saitabao Ole Kanchori, has joined the list of those challenging the nominations. He argues that the appointment of opposition leaders into the cabinet compromises their constitutional duty to oversee the government. Additionally, a lawyer-led civic movement is mobilizing youth support to petition against these nominations. David Kagina has more on this story.
The 5 p.m. deadline on July 31st for Kenyans to submit their comments on the nominated candidates for the position of cabinet secretaries is fast approaching, prompting a rush of submissions from most civil groups and individuals. The latest to join the list is Saitabao Ole Kanchori, chief agent of former Azimio leader Raila Odinga, who has filed a petition with the Malindi court under a certificate of urgency. Kanchori is seeking conservatory orders to hold the vetting of the nominees, which is set to begin on August 1st. In his petition, he demands that the nominations of all 14 nominees be quashed. Kanchori explains that the nomination and appointment of 4 members from the leadership of an opposition party into the cabinet will conflict with their constitutional duty to oversee the government and provide checks and balances as bestowed upon the opposition party by Kenyans and the Constitution. That the nomination of the first to fourth interested parties effectively renders the opposition in Kenya ineffective and useless, and for all intents and purposes makes Kenya a one-party state in violation of Article 4.2 and 10.2a and c of the Constitution. He further argues that the actions of the president, the first respondent in the case, defy the principles of good governance, integrity, transparency and accountability that come with a multi-party state. Another reason for Kanchori's petition is the grounds upon which the initial cabinet was dismissed. He argues that the decision was reached following serious public outcry by the Kenyan public, especially Gen Z, over claims of corruption, incompetence and lack of accountability in government. These issues, he says, are still not mitigated, making the nominees unfit for public office as stipulated under Chapter 6 of the Constitution. That the first respondent's action of nominating the 5th to the 14th interested parties for reappointments as cabinet secretaries, notwithstanding the valid and unmitigated reasons for their earlier dismissal, is a gross and flagrant abuse of the public trust vested in him as president. It demonstrates utter contempt and spite for the people of Kenya and has the effect of seriously eroding public confidence in the integrity of both the office of the president and those of cabinet secretaries. This is a clear violation of Article 73 of the Constitution. Kanchori also holds that the first respondent, who is the president, should be mindful that the government he runs is not his government, but the government of the Republic of Kenya, which he only runs as president in trust for the people of Kenya, to whom it actually belongs. He adds that the people are thus supreme and indeed above the president, and their will must be respected and upheld. David Kagina, K24, Nairobi.
Well, on that note, we take a very fast break here on Evening Edition. More stories to come, including Gen Z in Mombasa vow to sustain protest. Do not miss.